The morning began like any other. Children walked to school, traffic moved through the streets, and people scrolled through their phones as sunlight poured over the cities. It was calm, too calm. Then, without warning, the sky tore open. At first, people thought it was an eclipse. The light dimmed, shadows grew long, and the air turned strangely still. But when the clouds broke apart, the truth revealed itself. Thousands of black shapes appeared above the clouds, sharp, metallic, and silent. No one understood what they were. Planes, satellites. Then came the sound. A deep metallic hum that shook every window on Earth. In every major city, New York, Beijing, London, Moscow, Karachi, people stopped moving. They pointed their phones at the sky, trying to capture what looked like a storm made of metal. The hum grew louder until it became unbearable. Dogs barked, babies cried, and car alarms went off one after another. And then the first ship came through the clouds. It was enormous, like a mountain of steel floating above the city. Its surface was covered in strange glowing lines, like veins of fire. It didn't look human. It didn't look alive. It looked like something from a nightmare. A voice spoke across every screen, every radio, every device. A deep, cold voice that didn't sound human at all. This world belongs to the Threx Dominion. Submit, and you may live. The voice was followed by silence. Then came the screams. Without warning, beams of light fell from the ships. Buildings turned to dust. Streets melted into glass. Within minutes, entire city blocks vanished. Fighter jets scrambled into the air, but they were swatted down like flies. Humanity had no time to think. From Washington to Tokyo, every government tried to make contact, but their messages met only static. The Threx ships moved in perfect formation, surrounding Earth like a cage, but far beneath the surface, inside a hidden military complex under the Rocky Mountains. A team of scientists and soldiers watched everything unfold through shaking monitors. General Cole stood with his arms crossed, jaw tight. "Activate Project Aegis," he said. The room fell silent. A young officer hesitated. "Sir, that system isn't fully tested." Cole's eyes didn't move from the screen. "Neither are we." Project Aegis, Earth's last secret defense system, was designed years ago for a threat no one truly believed would come. It was built not with alien power, but with human desperation and creativity. A technician pressed a button, and deep underground, massive generators roared to life. The power grid flickered. Across the continent, satellites that had been decommissioned suddenly lit up again. Above the burning cities, strange pulses of energy began to interfere with the alien ships. Their beams wavered. Some ships started losing balance, crashing into one another. In the skies over Europe, a young pilot named Mara Hayes flew her fighter through smoke and chaos. Her city, Paris, was in ruins, but she refused to retreat. Her comms were filled with static. She caught part of a message. "All units, engage! Do not fall back!" She saw one of the alien ships descending, its shields flickering. This was her chance. She pushed her jet to the limit, firing every missile she had left. The explosion was blinding. For a moment, everything went white. When the smoke cleared, the alien ship was falling, its engines on fire. The people below cheered as it crashed into the river. Mara's voice came through the comms, calm but cold. "That's one. Who's next?" Around the world, resistance began to form. Ordinary people picked up weapons. Firefighters became rescuers, scientists became hackers, and soldiers became legends. But the aliens were not unprepared. In their command ship, Lord Vurak watched the planet burn with a cruel smile. His eyes glowed yellow beneath a steel helmet. "Primitive species," he said. "They resist out of fear. Soon they will kneel." One of his lieutenants stepped forward. "Their defenses are stronger than we expected, my lord. Some of our lower fleets are losing control." Vurak turned slowly. "Then we will teach them control." He raised his hand, and a pulse of energy spread across the ship. Outside, the Threx fleet adjusted formation. Dozens of new ships emerged from the black clouds, larger, deadlier, designed for total extermination. Back on Earth, General Cole watched the radar fill with new signals. "They're sending reinforcements," he said quietly. A scientist beside him shook her head. "We can't stop all of them." Cole's hand tightened on the table. "Then we'll stop enough." Across the world, underground bunkers came alive. Missile silos opened. Hidden submarines surfaced. Every last secret weapon humanity ever built was suddenly pointed toward the sky. For the first time in history, the nations of Earth were united, not by choice, but by survival. And as the first wave of counterattacks launched, the burning sky turned even brighter. Mara Hayes looked up from her cockpit, her oxygen running low, her jet shaking from the heat. She saw dozens of human missiles streaking past her toward the black ships. She whispered into her comms, a single line that would later echo across Earth's history. "They think it'll be easy. Let's show them what easy really means." The night sky exploded in fire and thunder. The invasion had begun, but so had the resistance. Smoke filled the sky. Cities that once glowed with lights were now burning ruins. But beneath the ashes, Earth had not surrendered. Deep inside the Global Defense Command bunker, General Cole stood over a glowing table map. Red dots covered the continents, each one an alien landing site. Blue dots, what was left of humanity's defenses, blinked weakly in between. "Status?" he asked. Lieutenant Harper wiped sweat from his forehead. "Sir, we've lost 90% of our satellites, but Project Aegis is disrupting their lower ships. They're not invincible anymore." Cole nodded slowly. "Then it's time for payback." In the skies above France, Captain Mara Hayes flew through black smoke. Her jet was cracked, her fuel almost gone, but her mind burned brighter than ever. Below her, alien drones hunted humans through empty streets. Their energy weapons lit the ground in white flashes. Every time a drone fired, another building fell. Mara's radio crackled with a voice. "General Cole." "Captain Hayes, we're launching a counterstrike. You'll lead the first wave." Mara smiled through her oxygen mask. "Copy that, Command." "Let's give them something to remember." Across the globe, hidden airfields opened. From deserts, forests, and old mountain bases, fighter jets rose into the sky. Many of the pilots were young, barely trained, but their hearts were ready. When the alien fleet detected the movement, their weapons turned toward Earth again. Bolts of light ripped through the clouds, but this time, humanity fired back. Thousands of missiles shot upward, leaving white trails behind them. Some missed. Some exploded early, but many found their targets. The first alien destroyer fell near the Pacific Ocean. The second broke apart above the Sahara Desert. And the third, hit by Mara's last missile, crashed into the sea, glowing like a dying sun. Inside the Threx command ship, Lord Vurak watched in silence. His lieutenants moved nervously behind him. "Their attacks are uncoordinated, but they are learning," one officer said. Vurak's voice was calm, but his eyes burned with anger. "Learning? They are animals playing with stolen fire." The officer looked down. "With respect, my lord, that fire is burning our ships." Vurak turned sharply. "Then extinguish it." He gave the order to unleash their storm spheres, weapons that could erase whole cities in seconds. Back on Earth, alarms blared. "Massive energy surge detected," shouted a technician. General Cole looked at the monitors. His heart sank. "They're about to wipe us off the map." Suddenly, a scientist at the back of the room, Dr. Ilara Wynne, stood up. "Sir, we can stop it. If we use Aegis pulse generator again, it'll short their energy grid." Cole frowned. "You mean the thing that almost burned out half the planet's power?" She nodded. "It's a risk, but if we don't try, there won't be a planet left." Cole didn't hesitate. "Do it." In the control room, warning lights turned red. Aegis began to charge again. The ground trembled. Across the world, power grids flickered. Some shut down completely. At the same time, Mara's jet flew straight toward an alien cruiser. She knew she couldn't destroy it with her weapons. So she planned something insane. She aimed her damaged fighter directly at the ship's power core. Her voice came through the comms, steady but quiet. "Tell my mother I flew higher than anyone ever did." Then she hit the thrusters. The collision was blinding. For a moment, it looked like the sun had exploded. The shockwave hit the alien fleet just as Aegis released its energy pulse. In space, the Threx ships began to flicker. Their shields failed. Their weapons powered down. Dozens of them started to fall toward Earth like broken stars. Inside the command ship, Vurak roared in fury. "Impossible. They cannot." His words were cut off by static. His ship shook violently as human missiles struck its outer hull. Vurak slammed his fist against the console. "Find their source! Find their weapon!" But his sensors couldn't lock on. The pulse had blinded their scanners. Down on Earth, the people watched in disbelief as the night sky filled with falling debris. Children pointed at the lights, thinking they were fireworks. In the ruins of Paris, survivors cheered through tears. "Look," someone shouted. "They're falling! The ships are falling!" General Cole stood quietly, listening to the reports. For the first time in hours, he allowed himself to breathe. "Captain Hayes's signal is gone," Harper said softly. Cole closed his eyes. "She bought us time. We won't waste it." A few hours later, emergency broadcasts spread across the globe. Every surviving country received the same. Message from Global Defense Command. "This is Earth's first victory. We are not finished. Humanity stands. Prepare for retaliation." In the shadows of a destroyed alien landing site, a strange sound echoed, a faint, mechanical hiss. From the wreckage of one of the smaller ships, a hatch opened. Something crawled out. A wounded alien soldier, breathing heavily, stared at the burning human city before him. He looked confused and almost afraid. For the first time in his life, a Threx warrior realized what his commander refused to believe. Humans were not prey. They were predators fighting for their home. He turned his eyes to the sky, where his fleet burned. And in that silent moment, he whispered in his native tongue, "We underestimated them. The world was broken, but not defeated." Cities lay in ashes, skies were still dark with smoke, and power grids flickered on and off. But humans were still alive, and that meant hope still burned. After the first counterattack, Earth entered a strange silence. The alien fleet pulled back into the upper atmosphere, repairing its ships. No one knew why they stopped. Some said the Threx were planning something worse. Others believed they were afraid. Deep underground, in a bunker hidden beneath Iceland's frozen mountains, the Global Defense Unity, or GDU, was born. General Cole stood before a crowd of officers, scientists, and engineers. Dust and exhaustion covered their faces, but their eyes still held fire. "We survived their first strike," Cole said, his voice echoing in the cold metal room. "That means we can fight. And if we can fight, we can win." Dr. Ilara Wynn stepped forward, holding a glowing tablet. "We've recovered fragments of alien tech from the crash sites," she explained. "It's advanced, but it's not perfect. Their systems are vulnerable to interference. We can learn from it," Cole nodded. "And that's what we'll do. Every scrap we find, every piece we steal, we'll turn it against them." The plan was simple: create a global network that could connect every surviving human group. Soldiers, scientists, civilians, under one mission: resist and rebuild. Around the world, people began to rise. In a ruined school in New York, a group of students set up communication towers using old radio parts. In the deserts of Egypt, mechanics turned broken tanks into makeshift armored trucks. In Tokyo, a young hacker named Kai Tanaka cracked into an alien drone system and made it follow his commands. When Kai's drone hovered over the city, carrying the Earth flag, people cheered for the first time in weeks. But the aliens noticed. From orbit, Lord Vurak watched the humans' growing activity. His fleet floated like a black storm above the planet, silent and waiting. "They're rebuilding," said one of his lieutenants. "Their network expands every hour." Vurak leaned forward, his clawed hand resting on the command table. "Good, let them gather. It will make their final destruction easier." He smiled, but there was something uneasy in his eyes. The Threx were warriors, but they had never faced a species that refused to die. Back on Earth, Captain Mara Hayes's name spread like fire. No one knew if she survived the crash. Some said she died in the explosion. Others believed she was still alive, hiding behind enemy lines. To the people, she became a symbol. Soldiers painted her name on their helmets. Pilots carried her picture on their dashboards. She became the face of the resistance. One night in the GDU command center, Dr. Ilara ran into the control room holding a data pad. "General, you need to see this," she said, her voice shaking. Cole looked at the screen. It showed a series of alien signals, short bursts of code bouncing through the atmosphere. "What is it?" he asked. Ilara took a deep breath. "It's communication between their ships. But there's something strange. It's not encrypted like before. It's almost like they're fighting among themselves." Cole frowned. "Could be a trap." Or, Ilara said softly, "it could mean they're not as united as we think." That night, GDU's top hackers, including young Kai, worked for hours to break the signal pattern. Sparks flew from the old computers as the generators strained to keep power running. Finally, Kai leaned back, exhausted but smiling. "Got it," Cole walked over. "What did you find?" Kai pointed to the screen. "It's not just commands. It's arguments. Some alien units are refusing to follow orders. They're saying humanity should be studied, not destroyed." Cole stared at him. "They're turning on each other." "Maybe not all of them," Ilara added, "but some of them are starting to question." A new idea began to form. If humans could hack their communication lines, maybe they could turn the enemy against itself. Meanwhile, in a destroyed city on the coast of Italy, a small resistance group led by a man named Elias Ford captured a wounded Threx soldier, the same one who had survived the crash in Part 2. Elias and his team surrounded him carefully. The alien's armor was cracked, his breathing weak. "You can understand me?" Elias asked slowly. The alien's yellow eyes blinked. "Yes," he rasped. "You fight like no other species. You do not fear death." Elias lowered his weapon slightly. We just don't run." The alien tilted his head, confused. "Why?" Elias looked at the ruins around them. "Because this is our home, and we don't let anyone take it." For a moment the alien said nothing. Then in a voice barely above a whisper he said, "Maybe. You deserve to survive." News of the captured alien spread through the GDU network. Dr. Ilara wanted to study him, not to torture, but to understand. If some of the Threx were starting to doubt, it could change the war. General Cole saw the opportunity. "If one of them can be convinced," he said, "we can make them all doubt. Doubt breaks empires." Days later, in a secret underground meeting, Cole sent a message to every human outpost left on Earth. "The resistance is real. The enemy bleeds. The enemy fears. We are no longer fighting for survival. We are fighting for victory." Across the planet, radios buzzed with hope. The resistance network was alive. And somewhere in the shadows of a fallen city, Mara Hayes opened her eyes. She was alive. And she had a new mission. For days, the skies above Earth glowed with strange light. The Threx fleet hovered in silence, not attacking, not retreating. Humanity waited in fear, every city, every bunker, every soldier on edge. Something was coming. Everyone could feel it. In the Global Defense Unity Command Bunker, General Cole stood before a massive holographic map of the world. Red Dot's alien ships circled the planet like vultures. "They're preparing for something big," said Dr. Ilara Wynne, her voice tight. "They're charging their main cores. Once those weapons fire, Earth will be gone in minutes." Cole turned toward her. "How long do we have?" Ilara swallowed. "Maybe 3 days, maybe less." The room fell silent. Then Cole said, "Then we have 3 days to change the rules." Somewhere deep in the Pacific, hidden inside a half-flooded military submarine base, Mara Hayes walked through the shadows. Her left arm was wrapped in bandages, her flight suit torn and burned. She had survived the crash, but barely. The base's crew gasped when they saw her. "It's Captain Hayes," someone shouted. She gave a weak smile. "Still flying, just without wings." They helped her into the control room. Screens flickered around her, showing pieces of alien wreckage and human engineers trying to rebuild. Mara listened as a young scientist explained their progress. "We've recovered a piece of their ship's core. It's strange. It connects to their main system like a heartbeat. If we can send something through it." Mara finished the thought. "We could attack their network from the inside." He nodded. "Exactly. But we'd need someone with experience in alien systems." She smiled faintly. I know a guy. Half a world away, in a secret tech bunker in Japan, Kai Tanaka was already working. His hands moved fast across his keyboard, lines of alien code glowing on the screens around him. When he received Mara's message, he grinned. "She's alive," he whispered. He sent a reply. "Tell her I'm ready. Time to show them how fast humans learn." Using captured alien tech and his own modified programs, Kai created something new, a digital weapon that could infect the Threx network through their energy cores. He called it the Echo virus, but it wasn't just a simple virus. It could copy alien signals, mimic their commands, and turn their ships against each other. Kai looked at his creation and said quietly, "Let's see how they like a taste of their own chaos." Back in the main command center, Cole studied the plan. It was insane, risky, and completely human. "So you're telling me," he said, "we can send a computer signal into their fleet, using a piece of their own technology?" Dr. Elara nodded. "Yes, sir. But someone has to take that device into orbit and plug it directly into the flagship's relay core." Cole looked at her, then at Mara, who had just walked in. "You're volunteering, aren't you?" Mara smirked. "You know me, sir. I like a challenge." Cole's face softened. "You don't have to do this alone." Mara glanced at the soldiers behind her, tired, wounded, but ready. "I'm not alone." 2 days later, under the dark red glow of the alien fleet, a small human shuttle launched from Earth. Inside it were Mara, Elara, and a handful of soldiers. The Echo virus was stored in a metal case beside Mara's seat, glowing faintly blue. As the shuttle broke through the atmosphere, alien ships began to stir. "Sirens filled the cabin. They've seen us," shouted one of the soldiers. Mara gritted her teeth. "Then we're going faster." They dodged blasts of plasma, weaving through falling debris. For a moment, the ship shook so violently it felt like it would tear apart. But Mara held the controls steady, guiding them through the fire. When they reached the alien flagship, it filled the entire view, a massive fortress of black metal pulsing with red light. "This is it," Mara said. "Plug in the signal." Elara nodded and inserted the device into the ship's external port. A bright flash lit the cockpit. The Echo virus began to spread. On Kai's screen back on Earth, alien symbols started flickering. One by one, Threx ships began firing at each other. "They're turning," Kai shouted. "It's working!" Inside the flagship, alarms screamed. Threx officers shouted in confusion as their controls went wild. Lord Vurak slammed his claws against the console. "Who dares infect my fleet?" He roared, but it was too late. The virus spread faster than he could stop it. His own ships began targeting his command vessel. Vurak's eyes burned with fury. "You think this will stop me, human?" he hissed. "You've only made me angry." He slammed his fist on a control panel and activated the Doomsday failsafe, a massive energy pulse designed to destroy everything in orbit, including his own ships. Elara saw the readings and gasped. "He's going to blow the entire fleet, including us." Mara took a deep breath. "Then we make sure he goes first." She turned the shuttle toward the flagship's power core. Her hands shook, but her eyes were steady. "Everyone strap in," she said. "This is for Earth." The soldiers saluted her silently. The shuttle sped forward, flames wrapping around it as it pierced through the ship's hull. The explosion that followed lit up the entire sky. From Earth, people looked up and saw a giant flash of light in the heavens. For a moment, night turned into day. In the command bunker, Cole whispered, "Mara." Elara stared at the screen, tears in her eyes. She did it. The alien fleet's core exploded. Half of their ships disintegrated instantly. The rest scattered into chaos. Across Earth, radios came alive with one message: "This is Captain Mara Hayes." "Mission complete," static followed. Then silence. That night, for the first time since the war began, the stars shone clearly through the smoke. Humanity looked up, not with fear, but with pride. They had faced the darkness of the galaxy and lit it on fire. The turning point had come. But deep in the shadows of space, one thing still moved: Lord Vurak's escape pod, drifting silently toward the stars. The war was not over yet. The explosion over Earth's orbit was brighter than anything the planet had ever seen. For a moment, night vanished. People came out of bunkers and shelters, staring up at the sky, their faces lit by fire and hope. Everywhere, from the ruins of London to the deserts of Nevada, humans cheered, cried, and hugged each other. The alien fleet was falling apart. The invaders, who thought Earth would be easy, were now burning in the sky. The message from Captain Mara Hayes had played across every surviving radio. Mission complete. After that, silence. No one could find her signal again. General Cole stood in the command bunker, staring at the giant screen that showed the explosion's aftermath. Half of the Threx ships were gone. The others were retreating, damaged, scattered, confused. She did it, whispered Dr. Ilara Wynne. She really did it. Cole nodded slowly. At a cost, he turned away, hiding the pain in his eyes. Get me a status report. Every unit, every country. Hours passed. From around the world, messages poured in. India still standing. Brazil's resistance forces survived. Europe's sectors damaged but operational. It wasn't victory. Not yet, but it was survival, and that was enough. But even as people celebrated, something dark moved beyond the clouds, far above Earth. A single escape pod drifted through space, black and sharp like a claw. Inside, Lord Vurak sat in silence. His armor was cracked, his face scarred, but his eyes burned brighter than ever. "They think they've won," he hissed. "They will learn what vengeance truly means." He activated a device built into his armor, a signal beacon. A red pulse spread through space, vanishing into the dark. Somewhere far away, in another corner of the galaxy, a massive Threx battleship received the signal. Inside it, machines awoke, and new weapons began to power up. Back on Earth, the days that followed were strange. The sky was still filled with burning debris, falling like shooting stars. Cities were destroyed, but people began to rebuild. Children drew pictures of soldiers and jets on broken walls. Farmers returned to their fields, clearing wreckage from alien machines. Everywhere the name Mara Hayes was spoken with both pride and sadness. To many, she was gone. To others, she was out there, watching, fighting, waiting to return. In the GDU bunker, Dr. Ilara Wynne worked without rest. The alien wreckage she studied contained strange glowing shards, pieces of Threx energy cores. One evening, as she ran tests on one of the shards, the lights in the lab flickered. The shard pulsed like a heartbeat. She frowned. "That's not right." The shard's glow spread across her instruments, burning symbols into the screens. She froze. It was a signal, an activation code. "Oh no," she whispered. Moments later, alarms blared across the base. Cole ran into the control room. "Report!" Ilara shouted over the noise. "It's the Threx. The remaining ships, what's left of them, they're releasing something into the atmosphere." "What kind of weapon?" Cole demanded. She looked pale. "It's not a weapon. It's a plague. A biological code designed to erase human DNA." The room went silent. Cole's voice was low and hard. "How fast?" "Hours," Ilara said. "Maybe less. If it spreads, we lose everything." Outside, dark clouds began to swirl above the planet. The wind carried glowing dust, invisible to the eye but deadly to life. Cole slammed his hand on the table. "We can't shoot it down. We need a cure, fast." Ilara's hands trembled. "We can't make one in time." Then a voice came from the corner of the room. It was low and rough, but familiar. "I can help." Everyone turned. Standing there, surrounded by guards, was the captured Threx soldier, the one Elias Ford's team had found weeks ago. Cole stared at him. "Why should we trust you?" The alien lowered his head. "Because I have seen what you are. You fight for more than conquest. You fight for each other. My kind does not." Ilara stepped forward. "You know how to stop it?" The Threx nodded. "The plague is linked to our biocode. I can rewrite it, but I will need your scientists' help." Cole didn't hesitate. "Then do it." For hours, Ilara and the Threx worked side by side. Their hands moved across glowing consoles as they mixed alien technology with human machines. The Threx soldier looked up at her once. You risk everything for a world that already bleeds. Why? Ilara gave a tired smile. Because if we stop trying, then we really are what your commander believes, weak. He didn't answer. But something changed in his eyes. Finally, after long, tense hours, Ilara whispered, "It's ready." They had created a counter-virus, a living code that could erase the alien plague. Cole gave the order. Release it. Missiles carried the counter-virus high into the atmosphere. It spread through the clouds like silver dust, colliding with the alien spores. For a moment, the sky shimmered, glowing blue. Then the wind shifted. The plague was gone. The world was safe. Again. Cole stood beside Ilara, watching the sun rise for the first time in weeks. "You did it," he said quietly. Ilara looked at the horizon. "We did it. But it's not over, is it?" Cole shook his head. "No, he's still out there." In the cold emptiness of space, Lord Vurak's escape pod connected with a massive hidden ship. He stepped inside, his shadow long across the floor. His voice echoed through the chamber. "They think they have won their freedom. Now they will see what a real war looks like." He looked back toward the tiny blue planet. "This time there will be no survivors, but far below on Earth, hope was still alive. Because even in the ashes of war, humans were already rebuilding, faster, stronger, united, and somewhere, deep under the Pacific Ocean, sensors detected movement near the wreckage of the alien flagship. A faint signal, a heartbeat. It was Mara Hayes, alive. Deep under the Pacific Ocean, silence ruled the wreckage of the alien flagship. Steel beams groaned. Faint lights flickered inside broken halls, filled with water and smoke, then a cough. A weak sound, a human voice. Captain Mara Hayes opened her eyes. She lay in a crushed command chamber, her suit cracked, oxygen low. Around her floated alien corpses, their armor dim and lifeless. Her head throbbed. Her body ached, but she was alive. Slowly she sat up, her breath echoing in the helmet. "Command, this is Captain Hayes. Do you copy?" Only static replied. She tried again, voice weaker this time. "Anyone?" Nothing. The ship's control core still glowed faintly near her, its alien energy pulsing in rhythm, like a dying heart. She crawled toward it, wincing in pain, and pressed her hand to the console. Suddenly, her helmet filled with a familiar voice. "Mara Hayes, you should not be alive." Her blood ran cold. It was Lord Vurak. His voice came through the ship's systems, distant but strong. Mara gritted her teeth. "Guess you don't know humans as well as you thought." Vurak laughed darkly. "You survived my fire, but you will not survive what comes next. I will return with my full armada, and your world will burn for real." Mara looked at the dim power core beside her and whispered, "Not if I burn you first." On the surface, weeks had passed since the victory. Humanity was healing, though scars were everywhere. Cities were rebuilding, nations were talking again. For the first time in years, people were united. But General Cole never stopped watching the stars. He stood in the GDU command center, eyes locked on a live feed from orbital satellites. "Any sign of activity?" he asked. Lieutenant Parker shook his head. "Nothing, sir. Just debris fields." Cole frowned. His instincts told him something wasn't over. "Keep scanning. They're too proud to stay beaten." Then the main screen flickered. "Sir..." "Signal detected," Parker said quickly. "Deep space origin. Non-human encryption." Cole's jaw tightened. "Can you trace it?" "Yes, sir, but it's coming from within our solar system." Cole's eyes narrowed. "He's already here." Dr. Ilara Wynne ran into the room moments later, holding a glowing tablet. "General, I think I found something. Remember the counter-virus we launched? It's mutating. It's adapting itself to alien tech signals." Cole looked at her. "Can we use it again?" Ilara nodded slowly. "If we modify it, yes. But we'd need a living link, a bridge between human and alien systems." Cole stared at her, realization dawning. "Mara," Ilara frowned. "What? If she's alive in that wreck, she's already part of their tech system. She's the bridge. Back beneath the ocean, Mara worked fast. She had managed to patch into the alien ship's energy node, powering her suit just enough to move freely. Her fingers flew across alien controls. "Come on, show me your secrets," she muttered. On the screen, schematics appeared, blueprints of a massive ship hidden beyond the solar rim. The vengeance of Threx, Vurak's true flagship. It was the size of a moon, and it was coming. Suddenly, Mara's comms crackled. "Captain Hayes, this is General Cole. Can you hear me?" She froze. "Cole? We thought you were gone. But we need your help, Mara. The Threx leader is coming back. We need your link to stop him." Mara glanced at the glowing power core. "I can see his ship. He's already charging weapons. You won't stop him from Earth." Cole's voice hardened. "Then we'll fight in space. Just tell us how." Mara took a deep breath. "You'll need to piggyback on this Rex power signal. I can turn it into a beacon, one that calls their weapon systems offline. Can you survive that?" She smiled weakly. "Maybe, if I'm lucky." Hours later, in orbit, the last of Earth's defense fleet, patched together human and alien tech, stood ready. The ships looked rough, scarred, and uneven, but every pilot aboard was ready to die for their world. "Signal from Captain Hayes is live," said Parker. Cole gave the order. "Begin Phase 1. Let's bring her home." Under the sea, Mara activated the alien reactor. The entire wreck began to hum. Lights flickered. Energy rippled outward, forming a massive pulse that reached the edge of space. Her hands trembled as she rerouted power into her suit. "Come on, hold together." Above Earth, the human fleet received the pulse. Their hybrid weapons came alive, powered by the Threx signal. Cole smiled grimly. "Now we fight on equal ground." Far beyond Pluto, the vengeance of Threx arrived. It was a black shadow against the stars, larger than anything human eyes had seen. Inside, Lord Vurak stood on the command bridge. His red eyes burned with hate. "Fire the main cannon," he ordered. "Erase their sun." The weapon began to charge, a massive beam of white light gathering at the ship's front. On Earth, alarms screamed. Ilara's hands flew over her controls. "They're targeting the sun. If they hit it, the solar system dies." Cole slammed his fist down. "Mara, we need that beacon now." "I'm trying!" Mara shouted, sparks flying around her. "The power core's overheating." "Then overloaded," Cole said. "Take him down with you." Mara looked up at the flickering ceiling. Understood. She rerouted every last bit of energy into the core. The ship began to shake violently. Water poured through the cracks. "Vurak!" she yelled. "This is for Earth." She slammed her hand down on the console. A blinding surge of energy exploded upward from the ocean. Into space, a beam so bright it pierced the darkness. On the vengeance of Threx, alarms screamed. Vurak turned in shock. "What is that?" A voice from his crew cried, "It's a feedback pulse. It's rewriting our systems." Vurak roared in rage, slamming his fists on the console. "No, no!" But it was too late. His own weapons turned inward, locking onto his ship. A second later, the vengeance was engulfed in fire. On Earth, Cole and Ilara watched the explosion bloom like a new sun in the sky. Cole whispered, "She did it." Ilara wiped her tears. "At what cost?" The screen flickered once more, then a faint voice came through the static. "Mission complete, tell them." "We're not done yet." And then silence, but deep beneath the ocean, in the ruins of the alien ship, a small emergency pod detached. Inside it, Mara Hayes breathed weakly. Her eyes opened just long enough to see sunlight filtering down through the water. She whispered, "Not done yet," and closed her eyes. The sun rose slowly over a wounded Earth. Its light touched broken cities, burned fields, and shattered skies. But life was returning. Grass grew through cracks in the concrete. Rivers ran clear again. For the first time in months, the world was quiet. General Cole stood on the balcony of the rebuilt Global Defense Unit headquarters. His uniform was torn, his face lined with exhaustion, but his eyes were steady. Behind him, Dr. Ilara Wynne walked in carrying a tablet. "It's confirmed," she said softly. "The alien flagship destroyed completely." No signal from Lord Vurak. Cole didn't smile. He only looked at the horizon. "And Captain Hayes?" Ilara hesitated. Still no word. The silence between them was heavy. "She saved all of us," Cole said quietly. "If she's out there, We'll find her. Far below the ocean, in the cold, dark trench where the alien ship had fallen, lights flickered. A small escape pod drifted slowly upward, carrying a single human heartbeat. Inside, Mara Hayes stirred. Her vision was blurred. Her oxygen meter blinked red. Her voice was barely a whisper. Still, not done yet. She reached for the control lever and pulled it. The pod's boosters ignited weakly, pushing her toward the surface. Above, the world had begun to change. The remains of the alien fleet were being turned into new machines. Engineers from every nation worked together, studying alien alloys and energy cores. The once divided world now shared one dream, to never be invaded again. The GDU became something greater, a council of humanity. They called it Project Iron Dawn, a plan to rebuild Earth's defense with hybrid human-alien technology. From the ashes of war, a new generation of ships rose into the sky, sleek, silver, and built by every hand on Earth. In one of the new launch hangars, Elias Ford, the young pilot who once fought alongside Mara, stood in front of a newly completed starfighter. It was named the Hayes One. He ran his hand along its smooth wing and whispered, "You'd have loved this, Captain." Behind him, Ilara approached with a small smile. "She gave us a chance to fight back. You'll carry her name," Elias nodded. "And I'll make sure we never forget what she did." Days later, radar stations picked up something unusual in the Pacific, a faint signal. Weak but human, Cole and Ilara rushed to the command center. "Track it," Cole ordered. The technicians worked quickly. "Sir, it's coming from beneath the ocean floor, roughly 200 miles off the coast of Japan." Cole's voice was steady but urgent. "Send a retrieval team now." Hours later, rescue submarines reached the source. Through the murky water, their lights fell upon a small metallic pod, half buried in coral. "Got visual contact," said the diver. "It's human tech. Looks like a GDU escape pod." They cut it open carefully. Inside was a pale figure, her breathing faint but steady. "Sir," the diver's voice cracked through the radio. "It's her. Captain Mara Hayes is alive." When Mara opened her eyes again, she was surrounded by light. The soft hum of machines filled her ears. Ilara's voice broke through the haze. "Easy, Mara, you're safe. You're home." Mara blinked slowly, taking in the room. White walls, medical tubes, and a large window showing the sunrise outside. Cole stepped closer, his eyes softer than she'd ever seen. "You did it, Captain. You saved the world." Mara smiled weakly. "No, we did." Weeks passed as she recovered. The people called her the Iron Captain. Statues were raised. Children learned her story. But Mara didn't rest. Every night she stood on the balcony looking at the stars. There was peace, yes, but also something else. Something she could still feel out there, a presence, watching, waiting. One evening, Ilara joined her. "You can feel it too, can't you?" Mara nodded. "Vurak's gone. But not all of them are." Someone answered his call. "The war isn't over, it's just paused." Ilara frowned. "Then what do we do?" Mara turned toward her, eyes full of quiet fire. "We prepare." Months later, in the blackness of deep space, a faint red light blinked, then vanished. In the distance, beyond known stars, a dark fleet moved in silence. Among them, a single voice whispered, "The humans have teeth now. Let them bare them. We will break them again." Back on Earth, Project Iron Dawn was complete. The first human-built star cruiser, the UNS Valor, stood ready to launch. Its engines glowed blue against the morning sky. Cole, Ilara, Elias, and Mara stood on the platform looking up at it. Elias grinned. "So this is what peace looks like, huh?" Mara smirked. "Peace is just the time between battles. Let's make it count." Cole raised his hand. "You all earned this moment. Humanity has risen from ashes before, but now we rise into the stars." As the cruiser lifted off, its engines roared like thunder. The world below cheered as it broke through the clouds, leaving trails of light behind it. Mara watched it rise, her reflection glowing in the glass. "They invaded Earth thinking it would be easy," she whispered. "They were horribly wrong." She looked up at the endless sky, her eyes cold but hopeful. Now it's our turn.